welcome back to our Thinkedi webinar on supporting carers in the workplace. I'm Jessica Bowen and today I'm here with EDI thought leader, Sophie Mason.
Hi, it's great to be back for another week of the Thinkedi webinar series. Let's dive right in. So over the next hour, we're going to be exploring those essential strategies, including flexible working arrangements, paid caregiver leave as well, and also talking about how we can foster those open communication relationships, how we can empower carers and enhance your organisation's success.
Carers are often overlooked, yet they are a really valuable asset within our organisations. These individuals, they juggle their professional responsibilities with their caregiving duties for their loved ones and are the unsung heroes of the workplace.
They really are. And supporting carers at work not only serves as a testament to your commitment to your employees' well-being, but it also yields a multitude of organisational benefits that are just too substantial to ignore. When we support carers in our workforce, we foster a culture of empathy and inclusivity, and we know how important culture is. Employees who see that their organisations care about their personal challenges are more likely to feel valued and engaged. And then this in turn leads into higher morale and job satisfaction, ultimately resulting in reduced turnover rates. Because when employees feel supported, they're more likely to stay with your organisation, reducing the costs associated with recruitment and training, for example.
Supporting carers can also lead to an increased performance in their work. When employees are less stressed about their caregiving responsibilities, it means they can focus better on their work. They're also less likely to take unplanned leave and less likely to get distracted, meaning they'll be more efficient.
Yeah, and with the state of the job market as it is, it's also important to remember that a caregiver-friendly workplace is an attractive one. It sends a positive message to potential hires that we are compassionate and we are understanding as employers. This reputation can help us attract top talent, giving us the competitive edge in the labour market.
Such a great point, Sophie. Supporting carers also leads to more innovation and better problem solving. We know that carers often develop strong organisational and time management skills just through their caregiving roles. These skills can be invaluable in the workplace, leading to creative thinking.
Yeah, and let's also acknowledge the legal and ethical obligations. You know, many regions have enacted laws and regulations that require employers to accommodate the caregiver's needs. So being proactive and supportive, we not only comply with these regulations, but we also demonstrate our commitment to social responsibility and ethical business practices.
Yeah, we know supporting carers is so beneficial for organisations. So let's talk tangible action.
My favourite words, tangible actions. And we actually have 15 for you today, and we're going to break them down for you. But first, I want to take us back to the Thinkedi 3 for EDI, because tangible steps aside, I think it's important we really understand why adding these steps into our EDI strategies can make the difference.
Yeah, I find the Thinkedi 3 really helpful to understand the experiences of our employees because it's about putting the employees and their lived experience back into the centre of the work environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we discussed in our previous webinar, which I will link below, we need to consider the organisational lenses through which we observe the journey of the carer at work. So firstly, we need to support carers with their awareness so that they can understand that they are a carer. You know, do they even know that they are a carer?
Exactly, because many people don't even know that they are a carer. I did some research actually. I found out that the money saved each year in the UK through unpaid carers is approximately 162 billion per year. That's 10 million less than it costs the UK NHS for just for a year. I thought I'd throw that in there.
Wow, okay. Mind you, it doesn't surprise me at all. And actually, I can throw a little bit of research right back at you because I found out that 20% of people in employment are also unpaid carers. 20% of your workforce. And according to Carers UK, 36% of those took more than 3 years to realise that they had become an unpaid carer. So awareness for our employees of their needs is really key.
It's really important because some of the most reported impacts of unpaid caring are the lack of time to yourself, health decline, financial worries, mental health decline, relationship stress, and of course, employment issues.
Exactly. And when you're a carer and you aren't getting the right support outside of work, this can lead to worry when you're in work. And that's obviously going to impact, your ability to focus.
But let's not forget also that the work can be a safe haven for carers too, a place where they can be themselves and have an identity outside of caring.
That is a really good point. Moving to step 2, which kind of fits in line with that. So this is about increasing self-esteem. For example, the unpaid caring role often falls disproportionately to women and also to people over the age of 50. This means we see a lot of women over the age of 50 with lower pension pots than average for men. And after building that awareness, we need to build self-esteem that will support people to realize the inequity and that they could benefit from getting support.
Yeah, the third and last step is about building confidence, right? We need to create an environment where strategies and work aren't in transit, where they can be relied upon for support when needed.
Yeah, so there's no use rolling out a carers network and advertising it and then stopping it in 6 months when the uptake seems low. Let's not forget carers are busy. And what they really need is the confidence that that support is going to be there when they need it.
Which brings us on to our tangible actions, which we have broken down into Thinkedi's 3 for EDI. But let's start with awareness. What can we do to build awareness in our organisations?
I mean, the most obvious is educational resources. You can provide information for carers or training on what a carer is on induction to your organisation. You can also make sure that those educational resources are available on your shared drive or internet or intranet.
Yeah, I know of some organisations that provide lunch and learns that benefit carers too. Then there's policy reviews.
And I love a good policy.
Yeah, thanks, Sophie. You can review and update your HR policies to ensure that they are inclusive and considerate of the carer's needs, including bereavement and leave policies.
Yeah, absolutely, which leads quite nicely into tangible action 3, which is training your supervisors and line managers. So, training your managers and supervisors to recognize the signs of caregiver stress and offer the appropriate support. If supervisors aren't trained to notice and recognize the signs, they could unknowingly be adding pressure to employees who are already burnt out, which can then lead to staff absence and grievances.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's awareness. Now let's take a look at self-esteem. Paid caregivers leave. What tells an employee that you understand and support them better than paid carers leave?
I agree. I mean, the risk is that they take stress leave anyway. And we know that carers often find a solace from their caring duties when supported, like you said.
Mm.
So giving paid caregiver leave shows that you have that commitment to your employees, um, and they'll feel valued because of that, and they'll want to come back to work.
Yeah, and if they go off on stress leave, there can often be a lot of anxiety around coming back to the workplace. And with paid caregiver leave, it removes that anxiety, and often employees feel and become more loyal.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Next up is communication. So raise awareness about the organisation's support for carers through your internal communications. Make sure that employees know about the available resources and support channels. There is no point having a carers network if nobody knows about it. And, make sure that all of your staff, senior management, right to frontline.
Yeah, then we have flexible work arrangements too. Organizations could offer flexible work hours, promote remote work options,
Mhm,
or compress work weeks. But
mhm.
this flexibility alone can help carers manage their caregiving responsibilities whilst maintaining their job's performance.
I am a huge advocate for flexible working. It's beneficial not only for carers. I mean, there's an assumption that it makes work harder, but actually, people are better organised and able to focus when they can work around their own schedules and maintain that healthy work-life balance.
I totally agree. Couldn't agree more actually. Okay, 9 more tangible actions to go.
And don't forget, you can pick and choose from which of these fits best to your organisation. And we'll also be making sure that you can download these 15 tangible actions and the Thinkedi 3 for EDI on our website at www.thinkedi.co.uk. I can also see a few questions coming through. So thanks for your questions. We will get to those shortly.
Yes. And the most important thing with these last 9, as we said, they are consistent. That a carer may not have time right now, or maybe building up the courage to speak to someone in the organisation about their situation. We need to make sure when they do, we're there when they need it.
I agree. Consistency really is the key.
Yeah, so we have employee assistance programs
Mhm.
to try to implement the EPAs that offer counselling services and resources for caregivers to manage stress, mental health, and a healthy work-life balance. These can really help. And also, there's lots of carer support groups around locally and online.
Yeah, and I mean, you could offer caregiver support groups, and this could be a video conference over lunch once a fortnight or once a month, even, where carers can be, separated into smaller groups or breakout rooms online, or in person if you can, just to have that safe space to talk and share their experiences and their ideas for support.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's often peers with shared lived experience that can be the ones that provide the best signposting. So why wouldn't you facilitate this if it's going to help your employees thrive in work too?
And for that reason, actually, support groups can be a great place for employees to generate a list of helpful resources for those referrals and services. And then you can share that across the organisation to promote awareness.
Yeah, you might work in an organization where job redesign is possible. Why lose the organizational experience of a valued employee of yours when you can retain their talent and expertise by being more flexible?
Yes, secondments offer that kind of like lower
Mhm.
responsibility roles sometimes, and that could be a way to provide a bit of space and time, whilst also bringing in that department key learning to improve the intradepartmental working, perhaps. That's another option that there is out there. And I think regular check-ins from line management are important too. Work might be the only environment for some carers where they are not with the person that they care for, and this may be the only place that they actually can talk. And conversations like this can be so important, because things can change really quickly for a carer. One day things might be going well, and the next day they might not. And how someone is coping one week may be totally different to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really important to develop return to work programs for employees who have taken extended periods of leave for caregiving. These programs can help them transition back into the workplace smoothly. It's also where flexible benefits such as dependent flexible spending accounts and childcare and elder care services are important too.
Yeah, so like flexible spending accounts, like like you said, those childcare voucher schemes, things like that, employer, or even, if you can provide childcare on the premises if you're a large organisation, for sure. And finally, the last tangible step: advocate for policies and initiatives that support carers at the broader societal level. Engage with local, regional, or national caregiver support organisations to show informed and involved, and that will show your employees that you care.
Should we go to some questions now, Sophie?
Yeah, I think we probably have time for maybe 3 questions. So just if we don't get to answer your question today, please just leave your email address and we will get back to you by email.
Okay, let me have a look. Okay, so Tim has said, how do we create a psychologically safe environment to support carers to come forward?
Oh, great question. Is it okay if I take this one, Jess?
Yeah, absolutely. Sophie, go ahead.
Okay, so obviously this is a really big topic that we should actually probably address in its own webinar. I really want to address this in more detail, but for today, I'll say that the key really is everybody leading by example, by actually demonstrating vulnerability and imperfection as leaders at every level. Employees are not going to feel comfortable opening up about their very personal experiences of being a carer if they're witnessing judgmental attitudes in work, or gossip, or people placing blame. And accountability is infectious. So if you admit that you got it wrong or you feel a bit low today, someone is more likely to approach you knowing that you might understand. And this doesn't mean that you have to go and pour your heart out every day. It means showing your humanity. And in this age of like social media, it's easy to think that everyone has got everything together, and everyone's doing so much better than us, the expensive holidays and the nice car and the perfect family. And it can feel like we're all expected to be just machines who function optimally all the time. But we may get home and rest at the end of the day and sort of turn off our social media and be able to switch off. But a carer might be leaving work and starting their role as an unpaid carer, which could well be the hardest part of their day. So where some people get that switch off time, a carer may not. So just showing that none of us are machines, and we need to show that. We need to show that we are human, and we need to be real with each other. But as I said, we will have to do another webinar on this, because it's definitely a really good point. Thanks, Tim.
I love that answer, Sophie, and I've noted that down for a webinar because it would be great. We'll have to talk more about psychological safety. I'd like to, just having a look here, I'd like to answer a question from Linda, who has asked, how long would you recommend giving carers and independent leave for? Sorry, how long would you recommend giving carers independent leave for? I mean, there's really no time limit that you have to give. And it really depends case by case basis. I would say don't forget what we said about carers finding solace in work. Remember that they want to be there. If they are not returning to work, it's because they really can't right now, and maybe there are more barriers that you could potentially help them out with.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. I mean, maybe some of the tangible actions that we mentioned today could help with that too. Okay, let's just take one last question from Sarah, which is, which of these actions should we take first?
Ooh, the easiest one.
Yeah, when it goes for
Always.
organisational change, go for the small wins. And sometimes it's that small step with the least resistance that can be the most effective, right?
Yeah, if an organisation has none of these in place, like perhaps then perhaps just a carers network to start with. Listen to your employees. They're best placed to tell you what they need and will likely have some really great ideas of their own.
Yeah, fab. So in conclusion, supporting carers at work is not just a moral obligation, it's a strategic investment in the future by organisations. By fostering that culture of empathy, you can enhance your employee morale, you can increase productivity, and you can attract top talent. You can also tap into their unique skill sets and problem solving abilities that are often developed by caregivers. Remembering 20% of your workforce are likely unpaid carers. But ultimately, it's a win-win situation if you can support them, because benefiting your employees will actually benefit your organisation as a whole too.
Yeah, let's not underestimate the transformative power of supporting the carers at work. Let's recognise their dedication and contributions and then create an environment where they can thrive personally and professionally. Together, we can definitely build a stronger, a more inclusive and a more successful organisation.
Well said. And on that note, that's it from us today on the Thinkedi web series. We hope to see you again soon. And don't forget to Thinkedi.